Welcome, everyday leaders. Today is Thursday. I am losing count of the days, but it's April the 30th, and
Yeah.
pretty special day. It's my grandmother's birthday. She would have
Oh,
been 101, I think, today.
wow. Wow.
So pretty cool. We were getting up doing our Bible study that we do every morning, and we were talking about just dates in particular and what dates mean to us and how we're losing track of dates and
Hmm.
times because of all the things that are going on in the world. And
Yeah.
so, but it's really important, right, to understand our foundation and what
Hmm.
is driving us and making us thrive.
Right.
And so today I am really excited on Personal Growth Live. I am bringing you guys a special guest that I've connected to on many social media platforms. And this is a powerful woman. So,
Mhm.
MaLa, thank you very much for joining us tonight and sharing your story.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
This is awesome. I am going to go ahead and put the banner on here because
Okay.
as we're talking, I want people to really understand everything about you. You're getting
Hmm.
ready to go on a trip.
Yes.
And it is a pretty big deal, and right in the middle of all this COVID-19,
Yes.
you were stopped from your journey. And so
Hmm.
so tell us about, without, me going on and on and on, tell us what's going on in your life. What's been inspiring you to kinda get to where you are? You've got an amazing story.
Well, in 2016, I got a letter from my late father. He passed away in 2011, and he wanted me to find out about my genealogy. I've always wanted to know about my family. I know I'm a good researcher because I have that police officer, military in my family. And that was very important to me at an early age, but he never got to express that when he was alive. So, as these letters started coming in, I started to realize that he sent me on assignments to find out where I came from, where my origin was. And I found out a lot of weird things and exciting things, hurtful things, and triumphal things that really helped me build my journey up of what my purpose is, in my life. So,
So what were some of the things that, as you're discovering, many times people would say, if I only had the time to go back and find out things that I'm curious about.
hmm hmm
Uh, And so sometimes, like you said, it can be painful, it can be hurtful.
yeah,
But as you start to understand what was influencing people at the time, right?
right.
At the time that was happening. So, what was one of the things that you could teach us that
hmm
you learned that you had to overcome through finding out this new information?
Um, I had to give myself time to grieve because I lost my father. It took me 5 years just to grieve over him. And as I'm going through these letters and he's giving me assignments on, you know, to go to these different places that I've never been before, I'm just like, okay, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm supposed to end up. And he really, it's like we bonded all over again. We really had a real close relationship, and I feel like I'm closer to my father now than I was ever before in the times that he was alive to tell me that. Um, and it's really, I think, to me honest, he really on purpose helped me to deal with what I was going to be preparing me for because this is knowing about who you are is hard because as I went through my life, I grew up African American. That's what I thought I was. But when I looked into my genealogy, I found out I'm part Vietnamese, and that hurt because I really thought that I was one race. And when you find out totally different things about yourself, it really changes your identity and really changes who it makes sense because I'm like, oh, I love noodles. I loved Asian food. Like my first dish was a wok. And I'm like, okay. my kids are drawing, dragons, and they're liking noodles too. And I'm like, I don't know, this is weird. And we love rice. So I'm just like, okay, that makes sense.
Mhm. But sometimes it's that one thing that you feel like, if I could just connect it,
Hmm.
right? You feel like you're in kind of this zone of, "I'm curious as to what my purpose is, and I wish there would be that sign. I wish there was that billboard to tell me more information." And
Hmm.
you were lucky enough because your dad did give you kind of this written assignment, this
Hmm.
journal of assignments
Hmm.
to show you and to help you really understand deeper that meaning.
Yeah, I mean, when you realize that that a stranger came to my aid in the Vietnam War and took a lot of over 2,000 kids that looked like me, or that didn't like me, that had light skin and blue eyes, and they was able to transport part of some of those kids to America. And he was the father that actually adopted me. So that was very special to me because I wanted to pay homage to him, and I wanted to pay homage to my family, um, and I wanted to really understand uh, why this was such a big secret. And as I do my research and I found out, they were literally killing kids that looked like me because they didn't like Americans. So I understood why my name was changed. I understood why I didn't have any recollection of, you know, any of my past. But I knew I was different. I knew I wasn't like everybody else. But my morals and my values were really rooted. And it's just some things I was just so empathetic of everything, everybody. Just I was so in tune with that. Um, but he cultivated that. I remember him teaching me how to read, and I didn't understand why he was teaching me how to read and write because I'm thinking I'm supposed to speak English, right? you know, but I stopped talking. When he got me and took me to America, I wasn't talking. I was mute and deaf when I got to America. So I was so traumatically hurt that I just wouldn't speak.
Mhm.
And he had to have ways in order to communicate with me, and that's how I learned sign language, by reading Hella Keller book. But if it wasn't for him helping me through this process, I don't know if I would have made it this far.
Mhm.
I don't think I would have made it. But yeah.
So when you say "MaLa speaks,"
Hmm.
talk to us about what that means to you.
Oh my goodness, Mala Speaks gives me as a writer a voice. Um, as I was growing up, I felt like I didn't have a voice. I was so suppressed. And, as we grow up, sometimes as women, they were like, oh, speak when spoken to. So I had that stuck in my mind. So it took me a lot of years to speak who I really was because every time I tried to tell people who I really was, it
Mhm.
wasn't accepted. I couldn't do guy jobs because that was not accepted. I couldn't do this because that wasn't accepted. But, as I go through Mala Speaks, it really sets up the tone for writers having their voice to speak their truth. And that's what Mala Speaks help people to do.
Mhm. And so for people that are wondering, like,
Mhm.
"But I have something in me, and I
Mhm.
don't even know where to start." Like, they
Yeah.
don't journal, they haven't experienced that yet, and here we're in this quarantine mode, for 6 weeks, going on 7,
Mhm.
and it's real difficult, and people have something inside of them that they're saying, "How do I get it out?" What's your advice to these to lots of people? Not just a few, but many
Mhm.
people are feeling this way.
I think you just need to just start. Just what I started when I was younger, I just start to write what I was going through that day. Was it a good day? Was it a bad day? I really started off writing poetry. That's how I started writing at first. And it was very dark. I had a family member had some poetry that I had written a long time ago, and it was very dark. But that's how I started. But as long as you just start, because one thing I want to just say about writing, you want to let your kids and your grandkids know
Mm,
who you really are and who you were and what struggles you went through so they don't make the same mistakes. And that's what writing is all about. It's about telling your truth. It's about being, vulnerable. And that's hard for a lot of people to be, is be vulnerable. And you just have to understand this is a good time to be with family. I grew up on a farm, so we sat down with each other and asked how we were doing, asked, what's going on in our school. And, we had table talks every night, finding out where we are, what we need. Everybody had a role in the home. The kids, every child had each role.
mhm,
And it's important for you to give your kids roles. It's important that you know your role and the kids know your role. Because if not, we're going to be found, blind if we don't.
mhm. But so before, when you say you couldn't speak when you came over to America and you
Hmm.
had to learn sign language, do
Hmm.
you remember, was that fearful for you and kinda just set the stage for because that really motivated you to discover so many more things about yourself, working through that fear?
Well, I didn't, I think at that age, I didn't think about it. I think I was just going by my father's cue.
Mhm,
And he really just took my hand and really guided me through the process. And I trusted him because he helped me in the time of my need. And I just really, he gained a lot of trust from me. So I took his lead and I, did as much as I could in that time. And he was a good teacher.
mhm,
I a lot of kids don't grow up with a father, and I'm just so sad for them because I had such a great relationship with him in his um, and when he was living and in his death, and I'm so glad that I still have a connection with him now.
mhm. And so tell me what you have done because there's a lot of
Hmm.
people that are watching this that are like, "Okay, so writing, but you have taken this to the next level because
Yes.
you have been interviewing, you have been writing, you
Hmm.
have a business." Like, I have your website up here that I wanna bring up, but I want you to help people really see your journey. What's going on with you today and all the things that you're involved in
Yeah.
because you're taking this trip, but what you've been doing in the United States, it's
Hmm.
crazy amazing.
Well, in 2016, after Hurricane Harvey hit, um, I birthed MaLaSpeaks. Um, I'm a part of the National Society of Leadership and Success. And they were like, okay, come up with a business idea. I'm like, okay, I don't know what I want to do. So I knew I'm a good writer. So I started writing scholarships for myself. And I started getting awarded scholarships. So I knew then I had something. So, I really just found writers like me that was doing it for full time. And the film industry has that. So I researched uh, film festivals in Houston and I just went off and I just said, hey, I'm a writer. This is what I want to do. I want to talk to other writers that are doing this full time because I think this is what I really want to do.
Mhm,
And I was thrown into going into a festival. It was Houston Black Film Festival. And they were like, okay, well, we need you to interview directors, actors, actresses, and short films. I'm like, what? I'm just like, okay. And she was like, oh, yeah, the room is out there. We already got it ready for you. You're the only media person we have. And when I tell you, you have to be ready, you have to be ready. um, that set the tone. That really showed me that I had something. And they were giving me compliments saying, you're good, keep doing what you're doing. You have what you need. And that's important. It's good to be around people that are like you and that have the same creativity as you are, because that's going to fuel your confidence. That the
mhm,
thing is having confidence, that will fuel you. And people that look like me and people that talk like me a lot of times do not get the opportunity. Women of color are fighting to get in media, is fighting to do writing, is fighting through the mass communication journalism. And I am speaking through them because they're like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. When I left Houston, I passed the torch off to
Mm,
the ladies of media that were in line with what I was doing. Um, and that's what it's about. It's about giving back, and it's about, getting ready for the next generation. Because, remember how we used to have prodigies back in the day? We don't have that anymore. I mean, mentors, it's hard to come by because you want to be very specific about a mentor. I didn't
mhm,
have that. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have that direction. I had people that supported me, and I support them now.
mhm. And that's so important. You just said a lot of things that I wanna touch on, which
Hmm.
are, finding your inner circle
Hmm.
and being able to identify who those people are that are gonna lift you up
Hmm.
and keep you focused, because
Right.
when you say, your goal is to pass the torch to other women, I just, interviewed a CEO of Pass the Torch for Women Foundation,
Oh, yeah.
and she's a great friend, and the organization is here in Indianapolis. But
Hmm.
they don't help just Indianapolis women, they really wanna embrace this change for good, for all women.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so what I love about this is, as you said that and you talk through it, it's such a visual, right? We're
Mhm.
passing on our legacy,
Mhm.
and we have to have a mentor that really speaks to us
Mhm.
and that we can trust,
Mhm.
because one of the things that you really kept touching on in the story is, your father and the relationship of trust that you had.
Mhm.
And without having that piece, it doesn't have to be a father, it can be anyone, but you have to be able to have that trust relationship, and that's where it starts.
Mhm.
And so because that give you your confidence that you have today.
Mhm.
And so I'm so proud of you. It's so great to hear your story
Yeah.
and understand that you're using your talents and your gifts to really fuel your passion.
Right.
And so I just absolutely love hearing and letting you share this, in a
Mhm.
way that I think people really need to connect to you
Mhm.
and jump on your journey, because
Mhm.
you're now, you're getting back on a plane, and you're
Mhm.
gonna go across the world, as I would say.
Mhm. Yes.
And you're on your way
Yes.
to Africa.
Mhm. Yes.
So what's
Yes.
happening in your life today?
I mean, this is I I'm just ready to just do this. I've been preparing since 2016 to go to Africa. So I've researched, I don't know how many books and everything about Africa and about where I'm going. But since this pandemic has happened, I have to go to another country and stay there for a little while and then go to Africa just because I can't take a direct flight. So that was kind of a bummer for me, but that was going to be a stop anyway. Belgium was going to be a stop anyway because that was where I was going to go anyway, uh, prior to me going to Africa, but things got changed.
Mhm,
So it's like when you set a plan, a lot of times it don't work out your way, but you have to be very flexible to be able to know that, God is with you and that you just have to keep going. You just have to, keep doing what you're doing. I'm still writing my book. I'm almost finished. I'm typing it up now. Wanting to put it on paper first so I could see it, that I'm done. You know what I mean? So I'm in the process of that because I really want to share my story. I want to share my journey because I want to teach other people how to do the same thing of finding out where they came from.
I
It's very
love
important.
Love
Hmm.
that. I'm gonna bring up right now, you're gonna see on the screen here in just a second, your website so that people can go here and, talk to us a little bit about when they go to their website, your website, MaLa, what can they find here? Tell us
Oh,
about
they're good.
this.
Now on my website, they're going to find out, they're going to get to know me personally, and they're going to get to know who I am and what I represent. I've gotten a lot of awards here in Houston. I've been Houston Community College Student of the Year. I was Houston Dynamo Student of the Game. I was Circular Change Leadership Conference Student of the Year, the Will Kim Award, in which he was a huge motivational speaker in California, speaking to sports teams about um, how to stay motivated and just positive things that he put out as a motivational speaker.
Mhm.
But and I got congressional recognized by Sheila Jackson Lee, which is our 18th district of Texas. So you will find all of those in there, and you're going to have videos to go with all the podcasts I've been on, all my first, reel that I was on. So you'll be able to look back from the beginning and how I progressed to where I am today, because it wasn't easy. It wasn't, it was a slow progression, but in 2 years, I can tell you, I went to 3, 4 events a day, plus went to school full time. You can do it if you want to do it,
Mhm.
and that's what I did.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
think that intentional, right? That intentional living and trying to figure out where you wanna go, what you see as the end
Mhm.
result.
Mhm.
And so when you say your goal right now is you're gonna leave, you're gonna go to Belgium, and then you're gonna go to Africa. What are
Mhm.
your plans in Africa? What are you gonna do over there? And
Mhm.
can we check in with you once you get to Africa?
Oh yes. Yeah, you'll be able to check in with me. I'm going out there actually to do a documentary on my journey, which is they have a big thing that they're trying the year return and beyond. And so I didn't plan it to go. I didn't know this was going to go on when I was going to do my trip, but it was perfect in the divine, planning that it happened that time, that's happening at this time. But I'm going to be doing a documentary about my story there in Africa. And also, I'm going to be doing a lot of teaching kids how to do sign language, how to speak Spanish, and really working with the deaf community there. And I have a lot of friends that African American diasporans that are already there building homes, and I'm going to be helping them finish building their homes and bring the agriculture aspect to it, because since I grew up on a farm, I have that agriculture that people are wanting to do there. Eating for the land is very important to me. Being eco-friendly is very important, and I want to be able to support my friends in their things to help Africa get to this point that they can survive on their own. Hmm.
That's wonderful.
Hmm.
What an amazing journey and an
Yeah.
amazing life. And,
Hmm.
I wanna thank you so much for coming, spending some time with us. I know you're on a tight schedule, you're leaving tomorrow,
Yeah.
heading out, and so getting on the
Yeah.
plane and, um, that's a big deal. We're right in the middle of this pandemic, and you're gonna get on this plane and be protected, and,
Yes.
don't let it stop you from
Hmm.
your dreams. That's what the
Right.
message is here, is
Hmm.
continuing to follow your dreams and understand that you can go out and change the world.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's not what I first thought I was trying to do. I was just trying to help my community. The Houston community has given so much to me. And that's where it started at. I didn't plan on getting any awards. I didn't plan on getting any accolades or anything. I've always loved community, because how I grew up, that's what we did. We helped each other. We helped our neighbor. Our neighbor helped us. What we didn't have, they had, and we shared.
Mhm.
Um, but people didn't grow up like that, and I have a different aspect on life than than everybody else. But that is very important. My community is very important. Houston has given me everything, and I've been to Indianapolis too. I love Indianapolis also. I was in Ohio for a year and a half. So I passed through Indiana and Ohio, because that's where I did most of my research at, because that's where our genealogy is. Our African American genealogy is in Ohio. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start my journey and connect with some people that I've uh, are been wanting to do since 2016.
It's amazing. I
Hmm.
love your spirit. I am so excited to continue to follow you. Uh,
Yeah.
so everybody that is watching this, if you
Hmm.
are watching this live or on the replay, go and follow MaLa on her journey, because this is gonna be incredible. to
Mhm,
get her book when it gets published and really just to continue to understand how she is showing up and conquering things
mhm,
that, when it all starts in our community, we all think, "I'm not really doing anything that matters
mhm.
except for what is important to you." But what is important is you do make a difference every day that you show up and you say, "I'm intentionally doing something that's bigger than myself that can honestly stop and change the world." And that's what you're gonna get ready to do.
Yeah.
So, really proud of you. I'm so, so excited to just share this so that people can follow you and support you and
Mhm.
celebrate you.
Right. So if they want to find out my everydays, they can go to my Instagram page, which is MaLa Speaks, MaLa Speaks, the number one, and that's where I'll mainly be talking about like real time what I'm doing, and then they can go to my YouTube page, which is MaLa Broussard, MaLa Broussard, Broussard, to follow the videos of all the projects that I'll be doing.
That's phenomenal.
Mhm.
Mala, thank you so much for coming by tonight. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time. Best of luck to you. We'll be praying for your just success and
Yes,
excited to connect to you once you get into Africa. Please check back with us and let us know
I
how it's going.
will. I would definitely will. Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate you. I appreciate uh, being an everyday leader. Unapologetically, I didn't mean to be, but that's just in my spirit. So that's what it's going to be. Thank you
That's
so
right.
much.
That's right. Thank you. Enjoy your journey and
I
everyone
will.
follow Mala and continue. Everyone can do this. Start with
Yes.
your community and find your passion and be everyday leaders. You can do it. We're encouraging you. We're here for you.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Stay safe,
Yes.
girl, and check in with us and
Mhm.
we'll keep following your journey, okay?
All right. See you later. Have a good
Thanks.
day. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.